A federal judge just slammed the brakes on Donald Trump's racist immigration crackdown, blocking their indiscriminate and unconstitutional stops across Los Angeles and beyond. I mean, this whole disgusting episode, it 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 sort of revolves around federal agents treating Southern California like their own personal hunting ground for like anyone who looks Latino. District Here's what U.S. District Judge, let me get this right, Mame Iwusi Mensa Frimpong had to say about the evidence presented against these dirtbag tactics. Quote, what the federal government would have this court believe in the face of a mountain of evidence presented in this case is that none of this is actually happening, she said. In her ruling, Frimpong said she found a sufficient amount of evidence that agents were using race, language, a person's vocation, or the location they are at, such as a car wash, Home Depot, swap meet, or row of street vendors to form reasonable suspicion to detain someone. End quote. I mean, do you hear that? The judge, she basically called them liars, just pointing out the obvious truth that we've all seen with our own damn eyes. It's the very definition of racial profiling, a policy so blatantly unconstitutional. It's honestly a miracle it took this long to get slapped down, isn't it? And look, this isn't just some like abstract legal debate. You know, we're talking about real people being hunted by their own government. I remember the sheer panic in my neighborhood back during his his first term. This is just a sick, twisted sequel, a really sick sequel. Of course, the White House, they didn't just accept the ruling and, try to follow the Constitution for once. Their immediate reaction was to come out, whining and essentially promising to challenge the whole idea of judicial oversight. So a White House spokeswoman was trotted out to deliver the official, predictable, bootlicking response. I'm going to play you the clip of what this gaslighter said. Quote, no federal judge has the authority to dictate immigration policy. That authority rests with Congress and the president, said Abigail Jackson, a White House spokeswoman. We expect this gross overstep of judicial authority to be corrected on appeal, unquote. A gross overstep of judicial authority, right? That's what these morons call upholding the amendment, the Fourth Amendment against racial profiling. They genuinely believe the president is a king, like completely above the law and beyond the reach of our courts. It's unbelievable. And this deranged mentality, it has consequences. With the city of Los Angeles being like put under siege by its own government, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, she kind of summed up the absolute chaos these creeps are causing. Quote, Los Angeles has been under assault by the Trump administration as masked men grab people off the street, chase working people through parking lots, and march through children's summer camps, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said in a statement. We went to court against the administration because we will never accept these outrageous and un-American acts as normal. Unquote. And, I mean, she's exactly right. These aren't law enforcement officers. They're state-sanctioned thugs in tactical gear. The image of them marching through a kid's summer camp is it's the stuff of nightmares, designed for one thing and one thing only, to inflict maximum fear. So, okay, who's the brainiac defending this whole catastrophe of a policy? Let me introduce you to Tom Homan. He's Trump's chief advisor on border policy and I guess a man who clearly flunked middle school civics. He went on Fox News to defend this nonsense, and in doing so, he basically laid out the entire illegal playbook for everyone to see. Here is what this imbecile is saying. Quote, he echoed government attorneys who argued that agents, in deciding whether to stop a person, can consider location, vocation, clothing, whether they run, and other factors. ICE officers and Border Patrol don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. He said, they just need the totality of the circumstances. Unquote. Totality of the circumstances, right? That's just a pathetic, racist code word for what? For being a brown person trying to make a living, you know what I mean? It's a green light for any agent to act on their worst biases, their prejudices, or whatever, and it's been the unofficial policy for years. And don't let these hypocrites tell you this is about targeting dangerous criminals, because that is just a steaming pile of crap. The actual data from their own arrests show, the data shows they're just grabbing anyone they can get their hands on. Here is a quote from a Los Angeles Times analysis. Quote, Times analysis of arrest data from the 1st of June to 10 found that 69% of those arrested during that period had no criminal conviction and 58% had never been charged with a crime. Unquote. And, whenever there's a policy, this inhumane and this nakedly cruel, one particular ghoul is going to crawl out from under his rock to defend it. Speaking of ghouls, yeah, I'm talking about Stephen Miller, the puppet master behind Trump's most vile immigration policies since day one. So naturally, this sociopath had a complete public meltdown over the ruling, accusing a federal judge of insurrection for simply doing her job. I'm not exaggerating. This is what the man actually wrote. Quote, a communist judge in LA has ordered ICE to report directly to her and radical left NGOs, not the president. He wrote, this is another act of insurrection against the United States and its sovereign people. End quote. He calls a judge upholding the Amendment 4, the Fourth Amendment, an insurrection, which is just rich, isn't it? Coming from a snake who's a key part of this whole anti-democratic project. I mean, these hypocrites have spent years downplaying a real violent insurrection, but a judge's legal order is like a bridge too far for them. Meanwhile, back in the actual courtroom, the administration's lawyers, they put on a truly pathetic performance. They basically argued that, that they were too busy and that it was a holiday weekend, so they couldn't possibly find evidence to justify their own damn arrests. The judge, a model of patience I could never be, she was having none of their nonsense. This is what she said when the government lawyer claimed they just didn't have a chance to pull the records. Quote, it's hard for the court to believe that in the time that you had, you couldn't have done that, Frimpong said. If there's any one of these people and there was a report about this is how we identified this tow yard, parking lot, and so on, that would have been helpful. Unquote. Yeah, that's because there were no reports. There was no real intelligence. It was never about targeted enforcement. The cities, the ones joining the lawsuit, they said it best. This is a politically driven show of force to make an example of a region that President Donald J. Trump dislikes. This ruling is, look, it's a massive victory and a brief return to the rule of law brought about by brave people and brilliant lawyers. But never forget that with these power-hungry people in charge, our constitutional rights are always just one bad ruling away from being erased. All right, that's it for me today. This ruling is a vital and necessary win, but look at how they reacted. The instant a court tells them to follow the damn Constitution, they scream about insurrection. These people, they have no respect for the law, for our rights, or for the basic tenets of a functioning democracy. They're control-obsessed individuals, and this temporary stopgap won't change who they are. We have to keep fighting them in the courts, at the ballot box, and in the streets. Let me know what you all think down in the comments. What was the most outrageous part of this for you? Was it Homan admitting they don't need probable cause, or Miller's unhinged meltdown? If you appreciate the work we do here calling out this filth, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. It like really does help the channel fight back against the algorithm. Stay safe, stay angry, and stay engaged. Cheers.